Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakudash. And I want to say double honor to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, that rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect out there listening, learning, and teaching this word in all sincerity and truth. In the sincere hopes that we may edify and feed the lambs of Yahweh Shai, especially in these last days. And I'm just gonna do a lesson, a quick lesson. I ain't gonna raise my voice too much, man, because the whole house is asleep. But it's pretty late, and I was just on my I was just on a balcony. I just installed some like solar lights on the balcony, and I just thought, well, just came in from walking the dogs, and I was sitting there, and I said to myself, you know what, man, let me just have a little think, just examine, where we're at, in this cycle of life, if you will, because we've been on the earth many times, but we're coming into the time of the last days, man. We're coming to the time of when Yahweh Shai is about to make his grand return, and then that's Satan. Satan's, you don't even know what you're talking about. Just shut the video off. See, and those are the things, those are the battles that we gotta face. When we do these lessons, Yahweh Shai, a bunch of ton. But I was walking the dogs, and I was thinking about I was just thinking about the chariots. I was thinking about the Lord. I was thinking about the Lord making his return. I was thinking about things like that, and to cut a long story short, this evening I was watching a show called Free Body Problem on Netflix, and it had me thinking about the angels and the chariots and Yahweh Shai, and basically the message that we're bringing, because they show you in that that show, like, spoiler alert, they kind of show you that those that have a cause, that they believe in the Lord, that things can actually happen to you. You can lose your life, you can get grabbed up, you can get hemmed up, because of what you believe in, because you believe in Yahweh Shai, and the time of the persecution, I've been meditating on that too. That time of persecution is coming, and what I said earlier, don't worry about that. That scripture says about second Esdras, got second Esdras on the brain. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, so these demons are always trying to mess with us, man, Satan trying to get in your head, what you're saying is not even edifying, this and that. Those are just some of the things that we gotta like deal with, but hey, but the Lord knows that, I just seen a sign, 3 chariots just flew over my head this evening, after coming from walking my dogs and just going out on the balcony, sitting, next to the solar lights that I just installed. I'm kind of off work at the moment, so I have like because I kind of injured my my hand and stuff. So I've got some time to really meditate as well, just really get into the thoughts of the scriptures, and which we should be doing that anyway, but I've got some time to really reflect on a few things, which is it's good to do that, because I was watching Elder Apostle Gabar's video, and he was talking about, like, we always got to examine ourselves. So I suppose we're meant to open up with that scripture, and excuse me for the rambling, just had some some things to say. It's quite a long introduction, but nonetheless, I'm gonna get into the lesson anyway. Lord willing. So this is 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, "Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith." And that's something that we all have to do. And the Elder Apostle Bar said sometimes it's like damn near every hour. It seems like you're examining yourself. And I know I've kind of gone through that. Sometimes it seems like damn near every hour you're kind of like rebuking Satan for stupid thoughts, or you're doing I don't know, you just you slip up, you make stupid mistakes. And then I'm just speaking from personal things that I've gone through, that I'm just putting on camera right now. But the scripture said it said, "Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith." And ultimately, this is about like earnestly contending for the faith. The scripture does speak about that. So we got to put up that that fight. We got to spiritually swing, man. We got to spiritually kick and scream and grab hold of the faith. And like the scripture says, let no man take thy crown. And sometimes I'm an emotional person. I just am. That's what I've always kind of been like. And sometimes when you think about the things that we have to go through, it does, like, it makes you want to cry sometimes. It makes you want to because it's the passion, and the passion goes back to pain. You know what I mean? And but no pain, no gain. But that's okay. We're fired up for this truth. And as long as we're earnestly contending for the faith, that's okay. Just don't throw in the towel. But it's a scary thing, because I was watching like I said, I was watching the Elder Apostle Kabar's videos talking about you don't want to be a reprobate. We don't want to be reprobates, man. Void of judgment, because the Lord, man, could just man. And we've seen guys just come into the truth and then fall out. And it's good to speak about that when an unclean, when a spirit. Let me see if I can get that scripture. 7 more wicked than himself. Let me see if I type in more wicked than himself. Yeah. Yep, so this is Matthew 12:43. "When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none." So before we came into this truth, we all had like demons on us, or a demon, if you will. You come into the truth, the demon, it walks through dry places seeking rest, but it don't find none. Verse 44, it says, Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he findeth it empty, swept, and garnished. And then goeth he and taketh. So basically, that demon's looking for an opportunity to, jump back into you. Like, you just a host, But this time he's coming with reinforcements. He's coming with backup. I know the spirit's got me going into like the spiritual fight as well, It says, Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be unto this wicked generation. So, when you see a man lose the battle of, keeping the faith, that's what happens, basically he gets mobbed by, that one spirit, but then he's got reinforcements, 7 more spirits more wicked than himself. And now he's just, he's gone, and that's why you got guys that eventually they start, they foaming at the mouth, and they talk shit about the apostles, talk shit about the truth. They scoff, they scorn, for whatever personal gain they think that they're getting out of it. whether it be selling out for money, lucre, whether it be for just being a straight up demon. But pretty much they go back into the world and they're just a bigger demon than they were before. Whatever the case may be, man. But we've seen fallouts, and the Lord can actually have that happen. And that's a scary thing. And that's why the scripture says, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord that we persuade men. This is about fearing Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. So let me go back to 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves. Okay. It says, how that, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. Alright, now let me get, I'm going to get it in the NLT as well. It says, examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is among you. And it's like, well, do you? Do you know that the Spirit of the Lord is among you, is among the brothers, the brotherhood. Like the scripture says, when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst thereof. Like, do you know that? Do you believe in it? Do you feel it? When you're amongst brothers, do you feel that, the presence of the Lord? Do you know that this is where the truth is? And do you know that when you're not around the brothers, or when you compare how you felt or the things that you were doing before you came into this truth, before you got around brothers, before you witnessed the brotherly love, when you compare the two, do you see the difference? And which one do you prefer? Do you prefer this? And if you prefer it, then that's beautiful. And you keep fighting to be a part of that. Because that's what it's about. It says, test yourselves. Surely you know that Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is among you. But the scariest thing is that it's not even our choice. But the Lord has given us the ability to give that diligence, to make our calling and election sure, just like he said. Give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if you do these things, you shall never fall. Satan, man. Satan's always... Anyway, it says, surely you know that Yahweh Shai Hamashiach is among you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith. So if you don't know that, you failed the test of genuine faith, man. Now, the Lord boosted my faith this evening because I was going to go into a story. Like I said, I've, done a bit of work on my balcony, just put some solar lights just hanging from the little fence or whatever. Pretty cool. I said, well, I got a source of light out there. Let me go and sit out there. It's a nice, cool night. The sky seemed pretty clear. The stars are out and that or whatever. So I went out on the balcony, and I was actually graced, with the company of my dog, one of my dogs. And he's turning 8. So-called 8 this year. Should be in a couple months really, or next month even. And he's very he's even met brothers, man. This dog of mine, he's very humble. He's got, you look into his eyes, he's got very gentle eyes. And he was there just like, he follows me, man. And dogs are loyal, nature of dogs to be like loyal and that. But he follows me everywhere around the house and that. So I'm sitting there on the balcony and I'm like this, and I'm just rubbing my head because sometimes we think about things and our thoughts we can be heavy in thought sometimes. I'm just being honest, and that's what happens when we're in the truth. The scripture says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. And that temptation comes in many forms, brothers, man. Whether it be mentally, physically, dealing with, or both, dealing with physical ailments and mental ailments, man. These things, financially, it could be all 3 of those at the same time. All 3 of y'all, just, Birdman, you put it, but, So I'm sitting on the balcony and I'm just there, just rubbing my head, and I'm just like, yo, this is just like just meditating on things and listening to the Apostles video. I see one chariot fly over my head. I'm like, okay. And bearing in mind, I just watched that Free Body Problem, which kind of like reminded me of the chariots as well. And I ain't gonna spoil it. It's just, just remind you about it, to meditate on things above. So I've been thinking that's the theme of the thought for the night. Then I see another chariot fly over my head. I'm like, damn, Lord, okay. As I'm meditating on certain things. And then I said, Lord, you know what? Maybe the Lord wants me to do a lesson on these chariots. I said, well, if I see a third one, maybe if I see a third one, above me, but it's behind me. And I'm like, oh shit, it's flying. I was like, alright, you know what? I got up, and then my dog's still there just looking at me, like he does. And I'm like, well, let's get inside. And so I set the camera up, so now I'm here. I'm doing the video. And there's one thing that I wanna speak about here is that the scriptures speak about lifting up our heads, for our redemption draweth nigh. So let me get Romans 13 and 11 real quick. It says, and at knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So, our salvation is close, man. It's nearer than when we believed, and we have to believe it. Okay. And sometimes the Lord will do these things, and sometimes you might not see a chariot at all for like months or whatever. I mean, they're there, but this is spiritual. The Lord, Scripture says, man's goings are of the Lord. Whether you see him, whether you don't, but if you see him, the Lord wanted you to see him, and that's that. And just so happens that I see 3 this evening, and no doubt, if I was out there for longer, I probably would have seen even more. But this what prompted me to do this lesson, just to to think about the times that we're in, and that our salvation is nearer than when we believe that Yahweh Shai is actually making a return. And when you watch that Free Body Problem, and how the angels communicate with the people on earth, and pretty much calls them bugs, and how wicked they are, and pretty much they're targeted for extermination, basically, and when you think about stuff like that, you think about what the Lord's coming to do. Like the scripture says, I am come to set fire upon the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? Like Yahweh Shai is coming to do damage, bro. Like he's coming to do some serious damage. And he's coming with the angels, he's coming with Michael the Archangel, who Michael is all about war. So we have to definitely take this seriously. And as I'm looking at these clouds, I'm looking at these chariots and stuff, and the stars, I'm thinking to myself, well, the Lord's actually going to really manifest that power, before people, before unbelievers. And what are they going to do about that? Where they going to be at? Where's their head going to be at? How are they going to take it? And the thing is, they ain't going to be able to take it. A lot of these people, when they see what we've been preaching about, what we've been saying about our salvation, and that's why the scripture says that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, that it's going to be so far beyond that they look for. Scriptures call it the strangeness of our salvation. Now, the main deliverance is going to happen in America, of course. You got the elect that are scattered also, But the main deliverance is going to happen in Babylon the Great, which is America. And that's going to be a strange thing to see, to see, people that are looked down upon in society getting beamed up into ships, or a ship. Yahweh Shai's father's ship, So, I'm going to go from there to Acts, the 1st chapter, because I was thinking about this scripture as I saw these chariots. I've been kind of meditating on this, and let me hold that one as well, because that's just come to my head, which also I was thinking about earlier on. In fact, let me get this one first. This is Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. It says, if you then be risen with Hamashiach, which means the anointed, which is Yahweh Shai, right? Seek those things which are above, where Yahweh Shai sitteth on the right hand of Yahweh. So we gotta we gotta set the bar high, man. Seek things which are above rather than the things of the earth. Like Yahweh Shai said to the wicked Israelites, when he was on earth, he said, "Look, you are from beneath, I am from above." So, you know, we got to seek things. We got to seek the things which are above, man, not the things on the earth. Like the scripture says, "No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life." It says, "Set your affection on the things above, not on things on earth." You just treasuring like carnal things that you can see in front of you, and the scripture says that the fashion of this world passeth away, man. So what sense does it make to lay up for yourself treasures on earth? Like the scriptures say that we shouldn't do. Okay, so I'm gonna go from there to Acts 1. Acts 1:9. It says, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, alright, he talking about Yahweh Shai, and the they was talking about what the disciples they were talking to the Lord, and he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So a giant, a UFO, if you will, a chariot, basically a cloud, a chariot received him out of their sight, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven. And Esau be making movies. He's got the 6th branch of the American military. Why do you think that they have that? Because they're gonna, the scripture says in Revelation 12, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels, and the dragon fought and his angels, and Esau's gonna try and fight against Yahweh Shai and the angels when they come back. So these things are real. These things are gonna happen, man. Okay. What was I gonna say? But yeah, these things are gonna happen. The chariots. Like that's what the scripture says in 2 Corinthians 13. Some were bound. Some were some were ashamed, or when the Lord comes back, everything's gonna be revealed. Okay, let me get this. Let me just say here. Yeah. 2 Corinthians 13 and 13. Well, let me start from 12. And afterwards I saw the same man come down from the mountain. And Esdras described the ship that Yahweh Shai flew upon like it was a mountain, because that's how big it is. Or that's how big it was that he saw, It says, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad and some were sorry. And some of them were bound. And that reminds me of that scripture, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. So Yahweh Shai is going to, grab up these elites of Esau, the wicked, who the earth has been given into the hand of in these last days. Whether they be in them bunkers or whether they be, wherever they're at, they're going to get grabbed up and they're going to get shackled, man. And they got shows like Fallout and that, when they show you that they're in them bunkers. They got movies like Kingsman. They show you that they're in the bunkers. And every time they're in them bunkers, outside of them bunkers, what's going on outside of the bunkers? Pure chaos, man. That's what they show you in these movies. That's what predictive programming. So they're showing you what they're planning to do. They want to unleash chaos. And I've been seeing, and I'm going to do more videos on these immigrant crisis that you're seeing pop up. Even over here in the UK, in Dublin, you got tent cities in Dublin now. You got them causing havoc throughout Europe. Oh, over there in Rome, immigrants throwing beer bottles at tourists and that, and people in Rome, they're getting beer bottles thrown at them and that. You got immigrants losing their temper, taking off their tops, blaming the West, pretty much saying, look, you should be treating us better. So, they're coming over here with some form of entitlement. This is what they're doing. They're getting put up in these fancy hotels. They're getting fed. They're getting flown in without a passport. They're getting let in. So all out chaos, man. And we know why this is happening. Like, let's Satan should get an advantage of us, but we are ignorant of his devices. So this is why these things are happening. Esau wants that new world order. He wants that chaos. Just like they show you in the movie Children of Men, when they had the immigrant crisis and the immigrants, they were locked in cages, but they were speaking different languages. They wanted to get out of the cage. They were pretty much locked up, and you had Esau and his troops. They standing there in all black with the guns, transporting them in these buses with gates on them for gates for windows and shit. And they were just transporting them to concentration camps. So these immigrants are gonna give Esau the perfect opportunity to set up these concentration camps, especially when they're talking about deporting them and that. You got the whole Rwanda thing that's happening over here in the UK. Rishi Sunak's all over that. But ultimately, that chaos is gonna, give reason for them to implement the chip, which is the mark of the beast, man. Over here, they call it NFC, near field communication. But an RFID chip, radio frequency identification. So that's the mark of the beast. And if anyone don't believe that, well, if you don't believe that it's a chip, then guess what? Then you're gonna go ahead and take it then. Because you're gonna want to eat. If you don't believe it's the mark of the beast, then you don't believe in Revelation 14:9. So you don't believe you're gonna be, you're gonna catch hell. You're gonna be destroyed. You don't believe you're gonna be destroyed for taking that mark. So there's no fear. So you're just gonna go ahead and take it. Why? Because you want to eat. But the scripture says, "My servant shall eat." So this is why, that's another reason why we got to set our affections on the things above, because the Lord's about to make great things happen for us. Miracles happen. Okay, so let's go back to Acts 1, and let's read about a miracle right here. Acts 1:10. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which were the 2 angels, right? Which also said, "Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven." So the same way Yahushua went is the same way he's coming back. That's why you go from there to Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. So, that show Free Body Problem kind of shows you some stuff, because there was a scene in it where, apparitions started happening in the sky, and everyone was just forced to witness that, and just made me think about the chariots, made me think about the Lord returning with the armies of heaven following him upon white horses, which is in chariots. A horse represents power, by the way, and white represents purity. You can read all about that in Revelation 19:11 on down. So, this is how the Lord's coming back. And I just wanted to speak about that, say a few words on that, man. And just basically put my thoughts out there on the camera, coupled with the scriptures in the hopes that this lesson would be edifying, because, we think about spiritual things, man. We think about things on a daily basis, at least we should be. And we should be constantly examining ourselves, because we want to do right, and we want to be right. But when the Lord comes back, we want to be saved. And as we fight and we strive and we earnestly contend for the faith, we hope that we do enough in order to get salvation, which ultimately the elect are predestined or preordained for salvation anyway. But we have to earnestly give diligence to make our calling and election sure. So this is why we do what we do as well, So, just like I said, just a few things I wanted to say. I saw a couple of chariots this evening. It's been faith boosting. It's been, eye-opening. And sometimes the Lord shows you these things, just to keep you in gear. And it's a blessing, man. It's a beautiful thing to see, to meditate upon the things that are above rather than the things on the earth. It's a beautiful place to be in mentally for us, to know what those things are, what those chariots are, those bright lights zipping through the skies at night or daytime. Pillar of fire by night, cloud by day. Man, you meditating on the scriptures and you understand it, that's a blessing, So let us earnestly contend for the faith, man, until the end. With that, man, I pray you were edified with this, and keep setting your affections on the things above. Now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So with that, shalom to the elect.